Shalom, my name is Karatiza. Today we're gonna learn I'm gonna teach y'all how to make the red pepper and quinoa soup. And first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go into the ingredients. So what you're gonna need. So the ingredients that you will need are, you'll need 3 red peppers, okay, 2 orange peppers, and about 7 plum tomatoes. Okay, you're gonna need some basil herb, cayenne pepper, sea salt, vegetable broth, and some olive oil. Okay, and you're also gonna need 3 cups of quinoa. Cooking utensils that you'll need is a big pot, okay, and you're gonna need a pan, okay. You also need it's not the whole blender, but you'll need a blender. Alright, so basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the knife, you're gonna cut it right here, and this part will come off, it slide open, and you don't want to get these seeds in there, so you're gonna cut around the seeds, basically like this. Just cut around the seeds. You don't want the seeds. And that's how you do it. And you're going to cut these in large pieces. They don't have to be small because you're going to blend them later. So they'll be in large pieces like so. Alright, and when you cut your tomatoes, do your tomatoes basically the same way. You'll cut off this part of the tomato. Cut that off. And you want to cut the tomatoes in large pieces because you don't want the juices to escape out of the tomato. So you just cut them in large pieces like that. And that's fine. Alright, so now we have everything cut up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to oil the bottom of the pan a little bit. Put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. And we're going to oil all of the tomatoes. We're going to oil the inside of the peppers and the outside. The oil helps it retain its moisture and keeps it from drying out. I'm going to put salt on it to bring out the flavor. Alright. Rub that around. Just throw them in there and I'll rub them in there as I go. Alright, so now I'm going to put the salt on. I'm going to salt them. Okay, so now we're going to put it in the oven on 475 degrees Fahrenheit, and until the edges start to burn a little bit. Okay, so while your peppers and your tomatoes are roasting, you're going to cook your quinoa. It's about 3 cups of quinoa. You cook from 2 to 3 cups of quinoa. First thing you're going to do, take your quinoa, you pour it in a pot. Now, how much ever quinoa you measure out, you're going to need to go a half more water than what you put in. So I put in 3 cups, so I'll put in 3.5 cups of water. Use spring water. There's 3.5 cups of water. Pour that in there. I'm going to cook it on medium heat. Say about 5. Cover it up. It should cook about 20 to 25 minutes depending on how much quinoa you have. You want to make sure you keep the lid on the whole time, and you cook this until there's no water in the pot. Okay? You should be able to stick a spoon in there and pull it to the side and see no water at the bottom of the pot. Okay? Okay. Okay, so what I've done now is I've put my broth into a pot, 32-ounce box of broth. And you're gonna put it in the pot and let it warm up. You just want to have it warm for your soup. You're gonna put it on low. You're just warming it up. So now I'm gonna check my quinoa. What you're gonna do is you're gonna see if I can get on the camera. You're gonna put it in there and put it to the side. Zoom in some. And as you can see, there's no water in there. See that? That means it's done. Okay, so my broth is warm and my peppers and my tomatoes are done. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some of the tomatoes and the peppers and put them into the blender. I also take some broth, probably about that much. Put it into the blender. You want to make it at least probably about halfway of whatever contents you have in there. So I'll just put a little bit more. The more broth you put in there, the more liquidy it'll be. The less broth you put in there, the more thick it'll be. So put the blender on puree. If you noticed that when you looked in here and as it was going around, the chunks got smaller and smaller. That's when you know it's done. And take it, you just try to pour it in another container. As you can see, it's kind of liquidy state. It's not so thick. So you keep doing, you just keep repeating the process until you've done all of it. You just don't want to overfill it though, because if you do, it won't come out. It'll come out really thick. Okay, so I blended all the peppers and the tomatoes up together with the broth. And I have it in this bowl. What I'm going to do now is add my spices. I usually add my spices later just because I don't want to burn up the spices and things like that. And also brings out the flavor more. So put a tablespoon of lime juice. 20 tablespoons to a tablespoon and a half. But I'll just put 1 tablespoon in this. Okay. Put some basil. I usually put enough basil to where if when I stir it up, I should be able to see the basil actually in the soup as I pour it like down off the spoon. I just like to have a lot of basil in it. Take this top off. For a little bit more. Okay, and then last is the cayenne pepper. Oh, cayenne pepper and the salt. If you don't like spicy foods, then you might not want to put as much, because the cayenne pepper can get spicy. But at the same time, the cayenne pepper is good for you. So, and then you add your salt. The salt actually brings out the flavor. So you have to add just enough salt to get it right without making it too salty. And this part, you have to taste test it. Get it just right to where you like it. I don't really use measurements too much when it comes to my spices, so I can't really tell you the exact measurement, but all I can tell you is just taste test it. Okay, so that's good. The last thing I'll do is I usually add my cooked quinoa. Okay, where it was. Okay, also if you like, what you could do too is, what I usually do is, I didn't do it on this video, but I usually add mushrooms to it. I think it's called portobello mushrooms, or baby bella mushrooms. I usually just throw that in the oven on like 475 for about, I don't know, 10 to 20 minutes. Put some basil on it, some sea salt, and I usually throw that in there too, but I didn't do it on this video. Okay, this is what it should look like when you're done. I added a few mushrooms on the side just as a garnishment. You know, that's optional if you want to have mushrooms in it. I used the whole pot of quinoa when I cooked it. I put the whole pot in there, and this should be the consistency that you should get. You may have some broth left over, you know, depending on how thick you want it. I just also want to add that you know, this can be eaten as a dinner, it can be eaten as breakfast or lunch at any time. You can also, you know, don't be scared to eat soup in the summer, because it's actually good for you in the summer too. One thing that you could eat with this soup, you know, is you can have some rye crackers with it. This is the brand that I use, Revita, dark rye, all natural crisp bread. And it looks like this. You just dip it in there like such and you eat it. Okay? So